Sermon of Maula Ali alayhi salam, Nahjul Balagha. These sermons and preachings of Imam Ali alayhi salam were so highly valued and venerated in the Islamic world that within a century of his demise, they were taught and read as the last word on the philosophy of monotheism and as the most effective sermons towards piety, a guiding beacon towards truth and justice, marvelous eulogies of the Holy Prophet and the Holy Quran, convincing discourses of the spiritual values of Islam, awe-inspiring discussions about the attributes of Allah, masterpiece of literature, and a model of the art of rhetorics. In this sermon, Imam Ali alayhi salam mentions the genesis of creation of the heavens, earth, and Adam. Glory to Allah in the highest, whose glorification cannot be described in words, whose blessings and bounties cannot be enumerated by reckoners and enumerators. And homage due to him cannot be paid even by the most assiduous and persevering attempters. None can fully understand or explain his being, however hard he may try. Reason and sagacity cannot visualize him. Intelligence, understanding, and attainments cannot attain the depth of knowledge to study or scrutinize the Godhead. Human faculties of conception, perception, and learning, and attributes of volition, intuition, and apprehensions cannot perceive him or fathom the extent of his might and glory. His attributes cannot be defined, limited, or circumscribed. They do not exist words in any language to specify or define his qualities, peculiarities, characteristics, and singularities. He is eternal. Therefore, no time could be imagined to say that he existed since then. Similarly, no period could be assigned for the duration of his existence. The creation of the universe, the universal expansion of primordial gas, and its gradual solidification in the form of mountains, acting as pegs in the bosom of the earth, are all due merely to his omnipotence. Thorough understanding lies in the conviction and confirmation. And the right conviction is to sincerely believe that there is no God but He. The true belief in His oneness is to realize that He is so absolutely pure and above nature that nothing can be added to or subtracted from him, because one should realize that there is no difference between his person and his attributes. Whoever accepts his attributes to be in addition to his being abundance, the concept of monotheism, and believes in duality, he and his attributes. Such a person, in fact, believes him to exist in parts. One who holds such a belief cannot form a true concept of Allah. He is ignorant and will always try to believe in some creation of his imagination as his God. And whoever holds such a belief accepts limitations in his being and confines him to a place or to particular attributes and brings him on a level with his creatures. To believe that he is invested with the characteristic of residing in a particular place, heaven or earth, and to point towards him accordingly, or to believe that he is restricted to a special position or occasion, that certain place or time can exist without him, and can be void of his omniscience and omnipresence, is a conception which results in assigning Godhead to a numerical unity. His existence is eternal. He neither came into being at some period of time, nor was he created. His being did not come into existence from non-entity. He is with everything, but not physically and bodily. He is away from everything, but not by way of bodily distance or of being unconcerned and indifferent to it. He acts and works, but his actions or work does not require any movement or help of any parts of body, instruments, or machinery. He had vision even when there was nothing to see. He is one and alone. He originated the creation without passing through any anxiety and without first trying experiments and benefiting by the results or improving the models, and without finding himself obliged to move about forced to carefully work out a particular plan or line of action. Allah the Almighty destined things, that is matter and energy, to be dissolved into time. He so arranged and consolidated these factors, matter, time, and space, that the intensity of their diverse and opposing properties was reduced. As soon as things came into existence, they were allotted properties and place in nature. And soon after creation of things, order for expansion and extension was given, and just as things were obeying this order, each one of them was given a form and a body. Thus, every created thing, from the cosmic ray down to the most complicated form of life, and every object had a place permanently fixed, was assigned a position in nature which none can change. In this arrangement, there was nothing accidental, but everything had a pre-arranged and predestined place in nature. Allah knew the very details of everything before He brought each of them into existence. His knowledge covered the near and distant effects of the coming into being, evolution, and destruction of everything which was created. The Almighty Lord assigned places to these objects in space, and to gain this end, the primordial gas or yelm started breaking its continuity and consistency, thereby dividing into nebulous masses. The space was ordered to expand and to provide in its vastness places for this expanding nebulous mass. This stupendous mass of fluid was swirling and sweeping, and the shaking conglomeration was in an extremely disturbed and turbulent state. In it, huge waves, millions of miles high, were rising. At this juncture, Allah brought into existence a third force resembling a highly strong wind. It stopped further thinning of the fluid and forced it back towards the center of the gravitation. Therefore, tremendous disturbances were raised in its body. This third force began acting upon it, creating fresh waves and forming fresh eddies like curd being converted into thin buttermilk and thick small globules of butter. This wind, the third force, was acting very strongly in diverse ways. On the one hand, it turned the whole body of matter and energy in such a way that every part of it was equally and uniformly under its influence, till the yam took up the form of something resembling foam and froth. We formed islands of thicker matter in the sea of thinner matter. Each foam and eddy was a galaxy. Thus the Lord created galactic clusters, seven skies, one beyond the other. The lowest cluster was to act as a base or center from which expansion was developed in all directions, and others, galactic clusters, looking like roofs one over the other. The galaxies were, and are still today, floating in space without any support, occupying their places without any prop. He then allowed each galaxy to be adorned with its luminous suns or stars, planets reflecting lights of suns, and satellites, moons, while every one of them, stars and satellites, was decreed to rotate on its orbit within the limits of the constantly rotating roof, galaxy. After having opened up the space, Allah filled it with different kinds of angels. Some of them, since their creation, have engaged themselves in prostration and have not got and will not get a chance to rise to the bowing posture, ruku. Some are bowing and will never stand up, while there are some who are standing in a file worshipping and will never leave their places or move. Some are constantly glorifying Him since their creation and will continue it without a break to the end of their existence. They never get tired, nor the constant work annoys them. All angels are so created that exhaustion and fatigue do not betake them, and oversight, negligence, or forgetfulness do not affect them. Some of them are trustees of His revelations and act as messengers carrying His commandments to His prophets and apostles. Some of them are guardians of His creatures, while others are guards of paradise. Some are so created that they extend from one part of the space to the other, even reaching beyond the limits of space. The grandeur of His might and glory has dazzled them, and realization of their own humility and meekness overpowers them. His might and power screens them from the eyes of his other creatures. Having realized his greatness, they do not associate him with any form, figure, appearance, shape, or size, neither do they ascribe attributes of his creatures to him, nor confine him to a place or position, nor compare or liken him to anything.
अक्स, सच्चाइयों और हकायक का अक्स।